Democracy is a government by the people, a form of a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by them or by their elected agents under a free electoral system. Although the concept of a democracy sounds great on the paper, when put into action, there are many aspects that prove that democracy is a continuous struggle for the people of the United States. An example of this struggle can be seen through the fight between wanting more or less gun regulation.
What are civil liberties? Civil liberties are what the government cannot do to you, detailed by the Bill of Rights. We expect the government to work to protect us and act in favor of what the population wants. However, oftentimes even the majority voice goes ignored by our government. A perfect example of this is found through the push for stricter gun control laws. The Second Amendment states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Civil liberties make democracy a struggle because some people believe that stricter gun control laws infringe on our rights to bear arms. Some also believe that stricter gun control laws will only take guns away from law-abiding citizens and leave them defenseless against criminals. However, the Second Amendment was ratified in 1791 and is extremely outdated. Times have changed, and so have the types of weapons available to the public, causing mass shootings and hate crimes to be a greater fear among communities. Despite the Second Amendment giving us the right to bear arms, the majority of the United States population is in favor of stricter gun control laws, which will restrict who can legally possess a gun. Stricter gun control laws aim to make it less likely for people who might be more vulnerable to breaking the law, such as the mentally ill or previous criminals, from owning weapons, as well as other things such as decreasing the amount of rounds a handgun can hold. Congress continuously fails to act out in favor of the majority opinion in the United States, and the blame for the increasing amount of shootings gets shifted around on different forms of media, such as video games. Yet rarely anything is done to increase the strictness of gun control laws and the safety of our communities.
Now let's see how news media works for the public. News media, especially the power of the television, is enormous today. They have responsibility and power to check and balance the role in the political field and influence the public. The First Amendment guarantees the freedom of the press in 1931. However, they play too large a role in determining the issues that the public sees. Media can also show different coverages of topics depending on their target audience. This often leads to the facts being shown out of context or certain news being avoided due to wanting to gain more views. Here, Fox News covers the issue of the gun control. They use the technique of framing that establishes the context in which it is understood, and soundbite on the screen gives viewers the bias. The young woman's struggle in regards to the gun control pushes viewers to think and feel that gun control should be less strict. On the other hand, daily news talks on the same issue but in a completely different way. The show always picks scenes from the other TV show or events and explains what the politician is really saying instead of picking what to show the target audience in order to elicit a specific response. From the survey, press found that 21% of people aged 18 to 29 cited The Daily Show and Saturday Night Live as a place where they regularly learn presidential campaign news. The unique elements of the show and the entertainment that Jon Stewart has makes the young generation wants to watch this show and support his opinion. This leads to this target audience following his views and seeing benefit of stricter gun control. However, other news programs may ignore the obvious benefit the stricter gun control laws would have, and instead shift the blame to other sources and ignore the main problems. News media is a struggle for democracy, because people all across the United States are constantly exposed to the various kinds of media. Depending on which channels individuals choose to get information from, the opinion and beliefs they form vary. Some news sources are much more reliable than the others, are proven to give unbiased and unfiltered news coverage that people must know.
Public opinion makes democracy a struggle because in a true democracy, the participation of individuals in matters that concern their social and political lives is essential and must be heard. Unfortunately, not all individuals and their opinions are heard because there are too many diverse opinions on public matters. Gun control is a topic with two diverse opinions, those who favor stricter gun laws and those who do not. Gallup Gun Control public opinion polls show the different views in regards to gun laws and actions. 49% of people say they should be made more strict, while 13% said the laws should be less strict. The previous year, 58% said the laws should be stricter, while only 6% said otherwise. The U.S. Senate voted but did not pass a measure to expand a background check for gun purchases. When the public was asked if they believed the Senate should pass this measure, 65% said yes, while 29% said no, they should not. Third, when the public was asked about the recent shootings that have occurred in the U.S. and what they thought was the leading factor, 40% answered that easy access to guns was to blame for the shootings. Another poll asked what would be important in prevention of shootings in the U.S., and 24% said stricter gun laws, while only 8% said more extensive background checks for those purchasing guns.
And if so many people are in favor of stricter gun control laws, why is it that Congress continuously fails to act? The answer to this is found through lobbying. The National Rifle Association spends huge sums of money to defend the right to bear arms and is opposed to almost every kind of law hoping to increase gun control or regulation. This includes restrictions on assault weapons, databases of gun purchases, background checks, and much more. Since 1990, the NRA has contributed over $20 million to squashing out gun regulation. They have been lobbying over $33 million since 1998. In 2014 alone, they contributed over $487,000 to candidates, leadership PACs, parties, and committees who are in favor of no gun regulation. We will be focusing on the 2014 statistics. The top recipients are all somehow involved with the Republican Party. Some individual candidates who have received money from the NRA in 2014 include John Barrow, Thad Cochran, John Cornyn, Tom Cotton, and many more. Top group recipients include the Republican Governors Association, Republican State Leadership Committee, Republican National Committee, National Republican Congressional Committee, and the National Republican Senatorial Committee. The total contributions received from the NRA PAC is 72 times the size of the contributions which are received from individuals. In 2014, the NRA has spent over $653,000 for Republican candidates and $87,000 against Democrat candidates. Lobbying is a struggle because despite the voice of the people and the majority wanting stricter gun control laws, Congress is not acting. This is because groups like the NRA are constantly pouring money into funding Republican candidates who are in favor of no gun control and are taking seats in office. Despite the fact that in a democracy people are supposed to elect their officials who will then represent their opinions, the only officials gaining seats in office are those who gain major funding through groups like the NRA.
Civil liberties, news media, public opinion, and lobbying are all in a constant cycle. However, the federal government is not listening to the voice of the people. This is a struggle because democracy is the idea that people rule, and our voice is legal to many aspects, including gun control, goes unheard or ignored in the federal government. Due to this cycle, the meaning behind having a democracy is lost on the majority public's unhappiness with the federal government and